So it's 2025 and you're a Sony photographer or videographer. What would your ultimate kit be? Well, this is mine. I've got everything in my Peter McKinnon Nomadic 35mm bag. As you can see, this thing is humongous, but it houses just about everything in my kit, and I've got a good bit. So I'm gonna get this thing opened up and we'll go over my kit for 2025. First off, just a little disclaimer. My kit is a little more extensive than your average person because I do both photography and videography. So I have to be prepared for whatever gig comes my way. And I have 2 bodies for photography and I have 2 bodies for videography. So let's get into the photography kit. First up in my bag, we have the Sony A7R V, the 61 megapixel full frame camera. All right, this thing, it's awesome. The flippy screen that goes any kind of way you want it to. I'm not a EVF shooter. I love to shoot from the screen just because it feels more comfortable for me. So usually I flip it out like this and that's how I shoot. But this thing, it's got the dual card slots. So any kind of paid work, weddings, pretty much anything that anybody's paying me to do, I have 2 cards in here and they're both shooting simultaneously, so they're backing each other up in case one of them corrupts, you have a backup. But nothing, I'm not gonna go over too much on each of the cameras, I'm just showing you what I got. But that is first in the photography kit, the Sony A7R V. All right, we got that out of the way. Next up, I probably don't need this, but I have it because I shoot sports, and the longest lens that I have is the Sony 70-200, and being able to use APS-C mode with any kind of sport like baseball or football and still having 25 megapixels after you use APS-C mode is awesome. So without further ado, it is the Sony A1 II. This thing, 50 megapixel sensor, has the same tilty flip out screen like the A7R V. The top of the line autofocus, 30 FPS electronic shutter for all my sports, and I actually use this a good bit for flash photography because it has a higher shutter speed for full power on the flash. I believe this one is up to 400 on the shutter speed and you still get full power, whereas the A7R V, it only goes up to 250 before you have to use a high-speed sync with your flash. But honestly, after picking the A1 II up, I thought the A7R V had good autofocus, but this thing blows it out of the water. Like trying to switch back and forth now, I've actually considered selling the A7R V because it just seems a lot slower to me. But that just may be me. But same thing, dual card slots on the A1 II, and you do have a connection to run Ethernet for file transfers on the A1 II, whereas the R5 you do not. But this thing is top of the line, which you pay for it too, at $6,500. So, but also neither one of these cameras have lenses on it, so I have couple lenses in my bag here. First lens I use a lot for portraits is the Sony 85mm G Master II, or as Terry Warfield calls it, gangster mode. This thing at 1.4, I wish they would have made it a 1.2. I would have picked up the 1.2, but it has super fast autofocus. It's not slow like the old model, and 85 is the go-to for any kind of portraits. So that's the first lens out the bag. Let's see what else we have in here. My baby, the Sony A7R-200 G Master II. This is the do-it-all workhorse lens, and if you shoot Sony in the Sony ecosystem, you should have this lens in your kit. Use it for sports. I can use it for portraits. You can try to use it for animals or birds, but it's not quite long enough. But if they're close enough, it gets the job done. This was the very first G Master lens that I bought, and I've had this thing for almost 2 years now, and it is awesome. So I don't think I have any more lenses in my bag. They're all on my other cameras. All right, so that's the photography kit for 2025. The Sony A7R V and the Sony A1 II. All right, let's get into videography kit. All right, videography, I'm starting to do a lot of weddings. I have, I think, 5 this year. And I had the A7S III and an FX3, but I just sold the A7S III to get another FX3, just because I like the camera so much. The ergonomics is on point, and that is my first camera up in the videography kit. It is the Sony FX3, full frame, 12 megapixels, ultra low light ability. Got the 800 base ISO and S-Log3, and the base ISO of 12,800, which I shoot most of the time in S-Log3, and I use the Cine EI. So you can switch between your base ISOs with this ISO button here. So if I need to switch fast, I can drop it down to 800 if it's really bright outside, crank this ND filter up, and it's seamless. So I have the new 28-70 G Master on this FX3, and this lens, I got it when it came out, and I did not have the 24-70. So if I would have had the 24-70, I probably would not have picked this one up. But the ability to have 28 millimeters all the way to 70, and that's only how far it extends, so you can use it on a gimbal and not have any issues there, just balance it in the middle. And it's been great having the f2 aperture on this thing. I use it for photo and for video. But this is my gimbal FX3. So I mentioned I have 2. This is one of them. And this right here is my handheld FX3 rig. As you can see, Sony FX3 body. I have the small rig cage on here, the small rig BB99, the Atomos Shinobi 2 monitor. This thing is sweet. I love having the ability to touch focus on the monitor since my LCD screen is on the side here. So that helps out a lot. But as you can see, I have the blue HDMI going into the camera right here with the right angle. And then I have the USB-C D-tap off the back of the monitor going D-tap here into the battery. And then I have the camera here connected to the back of the monitor. So the battery charges the monitor, and then it feeds power through the monitor and charges the camera at the same time, which I think is pretty sweet feature on the Shinobi 2. But on here I have the, I think this is the 50. Yep. This is the Sony 51.4 GM. I wish I would have bought the 1.2, but I don't think it's worth the price difference. So this thing, I mean, nifty 50, you can do whatever you want with it. It pretty much stays on here unless I swap it out for the 28-70. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, but I use the Peter McKinnon, or I don't know if it's Peter McKinnon, I don't know if it's his brand or if he just collaborates with them, but it's the Polar Pro variable NDs. I have these things, they just slide on and off. So you grab the little gold buttons here, pops off like that, stick it back on here, and it locks just like that. Like that, boom, ready to shoot. As you can see, variable ND. So I have that on pretty much every camera that, or every lens that I own. I have a Polar Pro ring on each lens. So if I need to swap a filter fast, it's on and off, just like that. Bam. Put a new one on, ready to shoot. All right, but this is the videography kit for $25, Sony FX3 for the gimbal. Sony FX3, grab it and go. All right. Let's see, I just picked up, also for the videography kit, I have the DJI RS4, and then I just picked up the DJI RS4 Mini. So let me get that thing out and we'll check it out. Okay, we got the gimbal for 2025. This is the DJI RS4 Mini. This little thing, it's awesome, lightweight. I love the gray or matte finish colorway over the black, just because most camera gear is black, so it's nice to have something fresh. But I'm gonna go ahead and mount my FX3 with the 28-70 on here and kind of give you guys a little mini review of it and what I think about it. I think it's going to be perfect for weddings, just because from what I figured out so far, that you need to be lightweight and nimble, because on a wedding day you move around a lot, and two, you really never know what's going to happen. So just being able to pick this thing up and go, I think it's going to be a great addition. So I'm going to unlock the axis here. Let's go ahead and unlock the top one, and then we'll unlock this one, or wrong one, this one. All right, and then we're gonna lock them back like so. All right, now one thing, I've already used this thing, and I had the small rig cage here on my ZV-E1 that I'm filming this video with, and for some reason, I don't even have the dang plate. Technical difficulties, we'll be right back. All right, my bad guys, gotta have this thing. But what I was saying was, with the normal small rig cage, get this thing unlocked, this thing just does not fit in this plate that goes on the RS4 Mini. As you can see, it kind of gets stuck, and I'm not going to jam it in there. So it comes with this plate in the box with the RS4, and it seems to be the only thing that, well, might help if I put it on the right way. Unlock. There we go. All right, there we go. But it is the only plate that I found that works with this Manfrotto style base that goes on the RS4. But without further ado, let's stick this thing on here and get her balanced. So you're gonna stick it on like this. And then one thing I love about both the RS4 and the Mini is this little circular thing right here that helps you slide it back and forth to balance. It makes it really easy. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna flip my screen out. Always make sure before you balance your gimbal that your camera is exactly how it's gonna be whenever you're gonna be shooting. So I'm gonna flip out my screen, take my cap off of the ND filter, and then I'm gonna zoom the lens out to about 40 millimeters or so, just so it kind of gets it halfway out there. All right, then you want to unlock this side arm right here. As you can see, my camera's gonna fall down. Always hold your camera as well before you unlock the axis. If not, it could fall and it could damage your lens or your camera. But we're falling forward, so I am going to unlock this side lever, and then we're going to slide it back. About right there. All right, we're gonna lock it. I can already tell this thing is gonna be way off on the bottom here. But I'm gonna do that first, and then we're gonna lock this axis back on the side here. Lock it. And then we're gonna do the side to side axis. I'm gonna unlock it. As you can see, it falls to the left. So I need to loosen this lever up like so. Slide the camera to the right. A little bit too far. Uh-oh. A little bit more. All right. Let's lock her back down here. All right, after you get that, you want to lock that lever back, and then we're going to go back to the front back motion here. Get that unlocked, and then you want to flip your camera with your lens pointing towards the sky. And if it's balanced correctly, it won't fall like that. As you can see, it's falling. So once that happens, you need to take this side arm here and you need to move it up or down. So since it's falling towards the camera, I'm going to move this arm up. So let's loosen that. And then we're going to slide it up. Not too far. All right. Got that. Now, next thing you want to do is unlock all your axes, and theoretically, if it's balanced correctly, it should stay like this. Tilt it up, it should stay pointed up as well. So all of these axes are balanced correctly. All right, let's try that. All right, we'll try it and see what happens. All right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna lock all the axes back. As you can see, everything's locked. And then I'm gonna power the gimbal on. And it's probably gonna go crazy because the last thing I had on here was that lightweight ZV-E1. But power it on. Well, it didn't go crazy. But first thing you want to do after turning your gimbal on is go to the calibration button and hit start calibration, and you'll see it start doing its thing. All right, I believe we are complete. So now the RS4 Mini should be balanced, and it is. As you can tell, this thing, it is very, very small, very lightweight, and it's just good to be, it's compact and you can fit it anywhere. I'll record a little video on here and kind of show you guys what the new studio setup looks like as well. I worked on that this past weekend and kind of switched things up a bit. So let me cut this thing on and we'll check it out. I've got the 2 to 5 on here. 12,800. Let me take this thing off. Oh, that's gonna throw it off. All right, but as you can tell, this is shot on the FX3 with the DJI RS4 Mini. Give you a little pan here. There's the ZV-E1, some foam panels. There's my aperture lantern. And then over here, I have another softbox. And then I have the new slat wall that I just put in. Little RGB light over there. Give her a little pan. There's my TV up there. It's probably gonna look like crap, but it is what it is. But that is the RS4 Mini. As you can see, it holds the FX3 with the 28 to 70. No issues whatsoever. You can hold it up like that, push in, pull out, pan, no issues. But looking forward to using this thing, and I will give you guys a little more updates once I get out in the field and actually start using it. But the main feature that people are raving about is the tracker, the I don't know if you, it's not LiDAR, but I stick that on the gimbal. I'll stop recording on the FX3, but I think it's pretty cool just because I film myself a lot. So hold your hand up to start tracking, and as you can see, as I move, the gimbal moves with me. It's pretty cool. You can hold your hands up and it stops framing. So I can scoot over here, start back framing myself, and that's pretty much it. You can hold up the peace sign to start recording. And now I'm recording. I believe, well no, I don't see any tally lights. Stop. Spin this bad boy around. No, it did not start recording. But if you're looking to get a gimbal in 2025, I'd definitely consider this one. Especially if you film yourself a lot, this thing comes in handy. I can move over here, it tracks me. Oh, I'm gonna tear that thing up. Move over here, she stays tracking. Anywhere I go, it goes. Oh, it lost me. I have my hand up. I can go back over here. Pretty sweet. Stop tracking. Stop. All right. Let's Spin her back around, and then of course, let me turn the camera off. But this is the best feature out of all the new DJI gimbals, the auto lock. Hold the power button, locks herself, carry it around. Oh, I need to go shoot again. Set that down, hold the power button. She's ready to go, just like that. But I'm gonna get this thing locked. Put my cap back on here, and we'll put her to the side. I've got one or two more little things that I plan on using in 25, so let me grab those and we're almost done. If you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching, but I have a couple honorable mentions for 25, and that is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This thing is just good to carry around everywhere. I've got a little Tilta accessory cage on here, so I can mount it to different suction arms or tripods or whatever it may be. And I pretty much just keep this thing in my bag, and in case I ever need it, it's here. Of course, you have the gimbal head on it, and I use variable NDs on this as well. I got a couple cheap ones off Amazon. And then I have the cover for the top here, because I've actually dropped it a few times, so I bought a cover for it. But there's lots of videos on these things. If you don't have one, I suggest you pick one up. And then also for 25, I have the DJI Action 5 Pro. So I just picked this thing up just to kind of do some BTS. I haven't used it much, but I do plan on using it. I have a couple of arms that I'm going to mount on the camera, and just to catch a little behind the scenes footage. But overall, I've enjoyed using it. I haven't shot a whole lot with it yet, but I plan to do so in the future. But I also have my DJI Air 3 drone, which I use for weddings and other stuff around the house, getting pictures of land and houses and whatnot. But that's in the other room, and I don't feel like getting it out, so we might cover that on another video. But like I said, guys, I'm a photographer and a videographer, so it sucks, but I have to be ready for whether I'm doing photography or videography. So I have to have a camera set up for both. And I feel like you need to dress for the job you want, not the job that you have. And I'm ready for anything picture-wise, video-wise, I'm ready. So stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Remember that. But that is my kit for 2025. FX3s, A1 II, A7R V, ZV-E1 for stuff like this. But if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, drop a comment, help your boy out. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.